There you go. All right, perfect. So I'm going live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Let's Play Curse of the Crimson Throne. You guys know me. I'm that guy that does the GM stuff. And you all know my lovely players. However, we are joined by a guest tonight, and for the next several sessions at least. I'd like to welcome everyone. What would you like to go by?
We can go by Kearney today.
Sure. So I'd like to introduce Kearney. Thanks for joining us. We, as those of you watching know, we are down 2 players for the time being. My brother is focusing on college stuff, and Blue, unfortunately, is having work issues and can't make it on Tuesday night. So we decided to brighten it up with a new face. So thank you, and good luck. That's all I got to say. Yes.
We look forward to having you here. We'll try not to get your character killed off right away.
Yeah, I appreciate that. At least give me a few episodes before we end up there.
I thought you were going to be like, I am quite capable of getting my character killed on my own. Thank you.
No, I'll leave it to them.
Right. Wink. Wink.
You want to take her out, you got to do it yourself.
So, in our last episode, you guys managed to make it to Rhea's family's stronghold, the Order of the Lilac, a group of paladins who worship the god Shellen, goddess of love and art and compassion and birds. No, really, and birds. But you got to meet Rhea's family, all of it. All of her family. In fact, you got to meet her father and her mother, who are named. Oh gosh, hang
what
on.
Are they named?
No, see, now I'm ruined forever. It's Cadence. I'm sorry. Every time I read that, I want to say not Cadence, but like Cadence. Cadence and Julian. Of course, and who turned out to be, as far as you can tell, very loving and proud parents of their little girl. Julian took Jolistina down to the dungeons to start assessing her to see if she was beyond all help or not. You guys also went on to meet the rest of Rhea's family, including Sebastian, who is her older brother, Claire, who is her older sister, and Daniel and Diana, who are adopted twins, not blood relatives, but certainly adopted into the family as her younger brother and sister. In addition to that, Amelia, you had a fairly important conversation with Julian regarding Jolistina and his thoughts on her, mainly summing up the idea that at this current time, he doesn't know if he can help her or not. She has been very, very, she's very disturbed individual, but that he will do his best. And he asked Amelia if she even wanted that. The answer was, maybe. Shrug. There was some slight conflict where Shala wasn't quite sure how to behave around family and what she should or shouldn't be saying. And at first, playing it kind of too safe and saying that she's friends and kind of hurting Rhea's feelings a little bit, she then went the complete other end of the spectrum and just confessed her love completely for Rhea. And that's about where the session ended. There were a couple other things. Of course, Aras had a very friendly conversation with Claire. And Rhea was going around giving presents to her family. She had managed to give a spell book to her little brother Daniel and a music box to her sister Diana, who had always been somewhat of an inventor. A book of Corvosa and I believe a well-crafted pen quill.
Yeah, it was like a peacock quill or something.
For Sebastian. And then had you given your sister her gift yet?
Yeah, that was right before Sebastian's.
What was her gift? I'm
It
actually
was
blanking it.
the compass.
Oh, the golden compass, right? And she said that she should always journey south so that this will always point towards home. Which, to be fair, there's a lot of worlds south of you, so not that bad of a call. And we ended the session there, though Shala had indicated that something that she had been working on for many days now was completed, and that she was going to show Rhea tonight. So we'll pick up there because we kind of stopped there for the moment. However, at the moment, I'm kind of going to put this in your court, Rhea. You still have a couple of presents to give out. You know that your father is actually, as far as you know, he's down in the dungeon somewhere. And your mother, if she's not here, she's most likely outside in the courtyard, either watching the trainees or tending to the stables. As while many people might think such jobs are beneath her, including the stable staff that tells her on a daily basis, she tends to be of the opinion that there's no such thing, and plus she likes animals. So you can usually find her in one of those two places.
Okay, so she'll go off looking for her mother first, assuming that she was in the hall because that's where she last saw her.
Okay, sure. So
I think that's where they are right now, right?
Yes, exactly. So you would actually find your mother in the hall talking to a novice paladin that you've never seen before, meaning that they're probably extremely novice. It's a young lad with straw blonde hair. You can tell probably barely 16, and you've never seen him in the palace before. And as you kind of approach, you hear the mother saying, "I understand that young people like yourself want to move too quickly and think everything is about fighting and weapons. But there's a reason why we give you wooden weapons, and the reason is because you can hurt people with them. So, let me be very clear. If I see you within 10 feet of anything that has some sort of edge until I say otherwise, I will dump you off the bridge myself. Is that clear?" And his face is staring down at the ground. He goes, "Very clear. Very sorry. Good. Now, tend to your duties." And he turns around and hurries away. And then she'll look up and turn and see you and kind of sigh, and she goes, "Oh, Rhea, they don't make him like you anymore."
She just like scratches the back of her head and watches the boy walk off. Right.
At least when you fooled around, you had the good decency to hurt yourself, not others.
Okay. Well, I came over here for, I have, and she just starts rummaging, around in her bag. Here, and she'll pull out her gift that's kind of like, wrapped up in cloth to sort of keep it from getting damaged. And she'll hand it over to her.
Rhea, you didn't have to. And she'll take the cloth and she'll unwrap it. And what does she see?
It is a very nicely crafted lyre.
She looks at it and she goes, "Oh. Oh, it's beautiful. Rhea. Thank you. But honestly, this must have been very expensive, and I'm sure that money is hard to come by."
She kind of just thinks back to the 10,000 platinum pieces that was dropped off. Not really, no.
Oh. Well, perhaps you've been a little bit more successful than I thought. Come. And she'll hold an arm out to, like, link with yours. Take a walk with me, like we used to.
Okay.
And you'll start walking down the hall, and then there's a few moments of silence. So how is the city? Are you finding it to your liking?
Well, it's been a bit difficult to explore it as much as I'd like since I've gotten there.
Oh? Oh, with the plague. Well, I would have thought you would have been all over the place, though. Were they restricting your movement?
At some points, yes.
Oh, I see. Well, do you intend to go back?
I think that's for the best. There's still a few things that I think I could help finish up there.
She'll nod. It will do you well to walk the streets of that town. It is not the nicest place in the world, but the world itself is not always nice. It can be, well, here at home, things are very different, and sometimes it's good to know that when you walk the streets, you bring love and light instead of being surrounded by it.
She'll just nod, looking thoughtfully.
So, tell me about this Shala.
She immediately gets flustered. Oh, well, what, what would you like to know?
Well, at first, I'd like to know how you met and became friends with one of the youngest members of the famous Valentines.
Well, when I arrived in Corvosa and I met with Cressida, she invited me to a banquet the following night to meet the group that I've been working with, and she was performing that night.
I see. Well, you wouldn't be the first one to be starstruck by a Valentine, but I don't take you to be that kind of... Well, if you do like her, and I assume you do, she kind of looks at you,
Yes.
then there must be more than just her performances. I trust that you know what you're doing. And she'll kind of like take both hands in yours. Just be careful. Young hearts are so easy to break.
I will.
And she'll like cup your cheek in her hand, and she'll be like, "It's good to have you home, even if just for a little while."
It's good to be home.
Well, I must see to the stables. I will see you this evening.
Yes.
Excellent. And with that, she'll give you a pat on the cheek and start walking away.
She will try to collect herself and start looking for her dad.
You would find them, well, as you are walking towards the courtyard, to start heading towards the dungeon, you hear heavy footsteps coming down the hallway towards you from the other direction. Kyrene, I'm so sorry. It's going to take me a while to pronounce your name
Kearney.
correctly. Kearney,
That's
thank
alright.
you. It's kind of up to you what you're doing at this moment. You just happen to be walking down this hall, maybe towards the mead hall, towards the Great Hall, or towards somewhere else. What would your character be doing? It's about 5 in the evening, getting close to dinner time.
If there's mead and there's dinner, then she's definitely on her way to get as many cups as they will give her of ale and everything she could possibly.
Got you. So then, as you Rhea, as you're marching down the hall, and it's a fairly narrow hallway. This castle is built more for fortification than comfort. You hear the heavy footsteps, and you look up and you see a figure you've never seen before. Kieran, would you like to describe yourself?
Sure. I'm about 4'2", 180 pounds. Bright green eyes, a smattering of freckles across the cheek, very pale. She's pretty beefy for even a dwarven woman. Her beard starts kind of on her lower chin. She's got big red curly bushy hair that just kind of flows into her beard and a whole bunch of metal brackets that other dwarves could probably read like a timeline.
Well, Rhea, as you walk down the hall, you see her walking straight towards you with a purpose.
All right, and you said the halls are like narrow, right?
Yeah, this is a castle after all, so they're fairly narrow hallways. Yeah.
So Rhea sees her coming, and she kind of just, will try to sidestep and try to give her some space to go by.
All right. You guys pass each other in the hall. Do you say anything to each other, or are you focused on other things?
I looked straight back at her and I'm all, "You're going the wrong way. The ale's up the road. This breath. It's nothing that way. It's dinner time. Can't you smell it? It's in the air."
Oh, okay. Well, I'll be in there soon then.
All right, don't be wandering the hole. I'll save you a seat. You can sit by me. Yeah, this sounds like fun, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I continue stomping on.
It's just like, what the fuck?
Who's that? So you continue on, and you make your way to the courtyard. And as you walk through the courtyard, you see your father Julian walking with Amelia. They're talking to each other in low voices. Your father seems bright and animated, which is par for the course for him, and Amelia seems drawn in and contemplative, which again, par for the course. So nothing unusual in this conversation, other than the fact that Amelia is walking with and speaking to someone she's just met. That might be a little odd. A little bit. But you see them talking in the courtyard, and they're about 20 feet away from you.
All right, so she'll Well, first she'll wait to see if the conversation stops at any point.
Eventually, sure, it would.
So she would walk up at that point.
So you would see there was a moment where they're talking, and then all of a sudden your father, his eyes light up, and you hear, like, drifting over the courtyard, "Brilliant, brilliant! That's why I love people like you. So willing to look into others and forgive." And then it kind of dies down again as his outburst kind of lowers in volume. But with that, I would say, like, Amelia is looking around a little awkwardly, not used to.
Just like got screamed at by this passionate man. Like, oh god, okay, yeah, sure.
And then you'd look up and you'd probably see Rhea waiting across the courtyard for something.
Yep, just immediately like, oh, Rhea, there you are. Like desperately trying to draw his attention away from her. That's like way too much energy.
With that, your dad would turn around and see you. "Ah, Rhea! You're just having a conversation with your friend here. She's delightful."
She'll just give Amelia a small smile. Like, I'm so sorry.
She just kind of shakes her head like, it's fine. Just silent understanding.
And your dad would come up to you. So, have you said hello to everyone yet?
Oh, yes, I have.
Excellent. Well, it's almost time for dinner, I think.
She just remembers the dwarf in the hallway. That sounds about right.
Well then, shall we? Amelia, will you be joining us? It's excellent food, and you've been on the road all day.
Yes, I will. I was actually hoping to speak with Rhea for a moment.
Oh, well, of course. I think I hear the meat calling me. You two, have fun. Rhea, you know the way. And he'll give a short little bow to Amelia, and he'll, like, ruffle Rhea's hair a little bit. And then he'll almost, for a man who's in his late 40s, skip to the hallway.
Oh,
Does he not get his present?
Oh, well,
wait.
you like grab his arm. What? Yes, what?
I have something for you.
Oh. Oh. Oh? Like his face goes from like surprise to understanding to confusion.
She will she'll pull out his gift from her backpack. Which is a little painted statuette of Shaylin's holy symbol, which is the multicolored bird.
Mm-hmm. I believe if it's I don't have a picture of it, but I think it's a white bird with a very pretty multicolored tail that kind of wraps around it. And he would look at that and he would go, oh, Rhea. And he'll take a hand out and he'll take it and he'll look at it. This is excellent craftsmanship. Where did you... Oh, of course. Corvosa. And he kind of like does a little like I should have known type of thing. And he goes, I hope you won't be disappointed if I tell you that having you here is slightly better than this gift. But I will put it in the shrine.
She'll just smile and nod at him.
And he'll hug her and he'll say, well, maybe I'll put it high up where Donna can't get to it.
Who?
Hang on. Trying to remember all the names. Diana. I'm so sorry. Where Diana can't get to it. You know, she likes to tinker.
Of course.
And then he'll smile brightly and he'll walk away looking at the bird, like very closely examining it. So much so that he has to look up just in time to actually make it into the hallway.
Oh boy. Rhea will then just turn to Amelia. So you wanted to talk to me?
She's still kind of like watching after your father walking away, just like slightly concerned as he like probably nearly runs into a wall at one point. And then shakes her head and looks over at you and goes, "Oh, yes, I suppose we haven't really had a chance to speak properly since meeting, really. It's kind of odd to, now that I think about it, but I imagine you have not the best image of me. This has not been a pleasant time for most of us, really, but it has been particularly straining on me. And this whole thing with Jolistina, I was dead set against just the idea of her being able to be redeemed. But your father, he's an interesting man to say the least. He made some very good points. And she kind of runs a hand through her hair and looks like she's searching for the words for a moment, and after a bit she says, I suppose what I'm trying to say is I do hope that he's right. I do hope that he can help her.
Well, from my experience, he often can.
After a moment, she looks around and kind of coughs a little bit and goes, I'm sorry. I suppose we should get back to the others. But
Oh,
I hope that this can be, I suppose, the start of a better acquaintanceship.
she'll just smile.
Amelia gives an awkward smile back, which is really just her normal smile, but
That's just her face.
yeah, it's just her face. And says, "Well, I hear they're serving dinner. We should probably join."
Oh, before we do you mind if I ask you something?
Certainly. What?
Um, and of course, feel free to not answer if if I'm prying, but I understood from previous interactions that you and Jolistina worked together. How exactly did something like that happen? When we were at Carowin Manor, she said she always had to protect you.
Amelia's face kind of goes dark for a moment, and she looks away and says, I keep forgetting that there are others who don't know the full extent of the story. I suppose most, even in our original group, don't know the full extent of it, but gods, you must be in the dark. Gadrian, the man that we're all after, is, I suppose, something of a kingpin in all of this chaos, but how I know him is through my sister, who married his son, who is the man that we killed. Rolf. Rolf Lamb. Before that, she was essentially the only reason I got work. I'm not very good with people, and so getting jobs is not easy for me. Once she married him, I suppose you could say I was inducted into some of the family business. And that involved eventually doing work alongside her, Celestina. It was not pleasant work.
She just looks at you for a moment and eventually nods. I see. Well, thank you for telling me. We've been working together for months, and I feel like nobody's really told me the bigger picture of what's happening. So, I appreciate this.
She nods back and gives you another kind of almost apologetic smile and says, this whole quest, I suppose you could call it, it's been shrouded in nothing but questions and confusion from the beginning, and I suppose at this point it's best to lay all of our cards down, however uncomfortable they might be. Though I suppose for you, you don't really have many of those.
Not in this case.
I'm sorry that you had to get mixed up in all of this. It's not pleasant business, and from everything that I've seen here, it seems like almost the polar opposite of what we tend to find ourselves in.
Well, it's definitely a bit jarring, and it will take some getting used to, I suppose. It will take some getting used to, I suppose, but this is my work, and this is something that I have to do.
She kind of gives you a once over, almost like she's rethinking something, and then nods and says, I see. Did you have any other questions, or?
No, I think that's that for the time being.
I see. Well then, I suppose we should be going.
That sounds like a plan. After you.
And as you guys turn to go, you see Shala across the courtyard talking to a figure who's actually wrapped up in a like a travel cloak with its hood pulled down low.
Okay.
Amelia will look over at Shala and go, should we collect her, or?
I think so. Yes.
She'll start heading over to Shala and mystery person number 1.
As you get closer, you hear them talking in hushed tones, and as you come up, Shaw looks up and she goes, "Oh, Amelia, Rhea," and she steps like in between you and the figure. "Hi."
Hi. And Rhea tries to like look around her.
The figure is like looking down, and Shala kind of tries to block your vision. This is
see?
yes.
What does a 20 get me on insight?
Shala's really trying to keep you from seeing whoever's in this cloak.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
And she goes, so, fancy meeting you in the courtyard. I thought you were talking to your mom. And she's like backing up and pushing the figure towards the hallway.
Yes. Well, I finished that conversation. Shala, who's this?
Surprise?
What?
And she kind of sighs. Well, I was not expecting you to... It's for tonight. They're to help tonight. It's a surprise.
She kind of looks at Amelia.
Amelia has not taken her eyes off of Cloaky McGee over there. Just like scrutinizing. Of course, she can't really do much of that because she can't see their face.
Also, Shala's taller than either of you, so...
She is. By several inches.
And she'll go, Rhea, you know I wouldn't keep secrets from you, but this is different. It's hard things. You'll understand.
I'm personally having trouble with the, I wouldn't keep secrets from you.
Anymore was the word left hanging in the air.
Right. Of course. She'll just slowly nod, still trying to get a peek at whoever's in the cloak.
Both of you, roll me a perception check. Yeah.
16.
Okay.
Oof.
13.
You can't tell. They're of average height. They're maybe an inch taller than Shala, not much more. So average height for a man, and given the broad shoulders, you can tell it's probably a man. But other than that, you can't tell. And Shala starts like shoving them towards the hallway. She goes, "Well, dinner's soon. I'll meet you there."
Rio kind of follow behind at a distance and say to Amelia, "So, what do you think that was about, exactly?"
I have no idea. Not even the slightest.
I love there's like a 30-second pause. No.
Like,
Just don't know.
No. I've got no clue.
While this is all taking place, Aras, what are you doing?
Was Claire still drinking in the hall?
Oh, you better believe it.
Okay,
I thought
then
Claire
yeah.
had walked out.
Well, oh,
That's why I was like.
that's right. Oh, hang on. Sorry, I'm trying to remember what happened a week ago. That's right. No, right, because you were left. It was just you, Shala, and Rhea for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
So no, it would just be. It would have been you and Shala. But very quickly after Rhea left, Shala would have excused herself politely. And then Ross would have been sitting at a table with her iron fox.
That's okay. She's just gonna pull out a book and start reading.
Okay. Fair enough. You pull out a book and start reading. Kitty curls up around your feet, which is something you probably had to be very careful with when making, because a puppy lying on your foot's not a bad thing. An iron golem fox lying on your foot, not so much a good thing.
I mean, she's titanium, so.
I'm so sorry. You're right, but that's still metal.
I know.
Yeah, but she would curl up around you, and you'd actually have about 20 minutes of just peace and quiet.
That's a rarity around. A commodity in short supply.
Indeed. Until right when you're really getting into the book, you hear footsteps as a dwarf walks into the room. So I'm so sorry, guys. Hang on.
You can do it.
No, it's not that.
Come on.
Oh, actually, okay. Yes, now it is that. I wasn't even thinking about your name until just now. Kirani? Kairuni. Kirani.
Oh, yep.
Okay, I was right. Okay, good. So I just gotta shoot from the hip more often. That's what I gotta do. Stop overthinking it. You walk into an almost empty room. You see the meat hall is completely empty, with the exception of a young looking female dwarf. She doesn't even have a beard yet. Reading a book. She does look a bit odd. Arlen, what are you wearing right now? Because I know your character does seem a bit out of the normal.
Oh, I just got normal clothes last time. Just like
Oh, so you're not wearing any of your tools or your thunder cannon or anything like that?
I figure because we've been traveling, all of that would be packed away. And
That's a fair assumption, actually. Yeah.
thunder
So
cannon's not out in public.
right, that's not something you normally
So-
just walk around with.
I'm sure she has like daggers and a mace strapped to her back. That's her traveling weapon.
Got you. So you see a young female dwarf sitting there reading a book, and you think you hear metallic gears clicking under the table. It's hard to tell. It's very quiet.
And she's wearing a cloak that has a whole bunch of patches.
Oh, yes.
Important question. Does she have a drink in front of her?
Oh yeah.
Excellent.
She is taking full advantage of her dwarf constitution.
Can I look around the room, see if there's a waitress? Do I serve myself? Is this a serve your own beer situation?
There are, you've been here long enough to know, there are kegs in the back of the room with mugs at the ready.
Beautiful. Can I get 4?
Yes, you can.
I fill 3 for me, and I take her an extra one because we've got to put some hair on her chin. She needs a beard going. And I just slam it all down. I don't care if it spills across the table or anything. And then I just start downing the first 2 before I start sipping the third.
If you like slam it down, she's gonna be like, "Hey, reading that."
Sorry, you look like you needed some help there. You're going a little bit slow, needing some encouragement. Don't worry, I'm here for you.
I appreciate it, and you are?
Oh, Kearney Sindra Dotry. Pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Kirani. What brings you around these parts?
Oh, I'm just visiting some friends, doing some good deeds, all the stuff You reminded me of one of my girls.
Oh, that's nice.
Of course. How old are you? What do you do with your time? What you reading? Is it a nice blacksmithing book? I could teach you a thing or two.
It's not important. It's fine. Um, it's definitely not about blacksmithing. I am 19.
19. That's a pretty good age. Let's see. I think Torga's around your age. She's a good girl, works in the tavern. Do you work around here? What do you...
No, I'm with Rhea. We're just escorting somebody from Corvosa.
That's good work doing that, escorts, yes? Taking people from one place to another, keeping them safe. Good work indeed. I'm going to drink half my beer.
We're trying to keep other people safe from her. But cheers.
Oh, criminal! And I smack mugs with you. Scary type, shifty, bandits, pirates.
No, she's just your straight up garden psychopath.
Oh, we can't have those running around, can we? You did a good thing.
Yeah, I think so. I hope so. Definitely better here than running around, that's for sure.
Yeah? What's gonna become of her?
Hopefully she'll stay here. That's what'll just indefinitely stay here.
Kearney kind of raises her eyebrows at this. Like, just move in, or,
Downstairs?
Alright, I see, I see.
I kind of want to like squint at her and does she understand at all what I'm talking about?
Well, Kieran, roll me an intelligence check.
Sure.
You've been to this castle quite a few times, because the paladins here are friendly and they serve really good ale. You don't really know much about what they do here.
So, you mean like they're gonna put her down in some crypt somewhere, huh?
Yes. Something like that. I don't really know. I just know that I was paid to escort her here. And I guess we're sticking around for a few days, so I thought I'd get caught up on some reading.
Oh, absolutely, and some drinking. We're almost out. We should get at least 3 more. Are you sure I can't help you with what you're reading? Education for women is very important.
It's so she'll kind of pull it out and it's a like a primer of deities of like the inner sea or the region, the deities of the region.
As said in the chat, it's God for Dummies, basically.
Yes, yes. God for Dummies.
Oh, that's way above my range. But if you find any good dwarven gods, you let me know. I'll add them to a wall back home.
Yeah, there are quite a few actually. You see, I think it was one I was reading about. Twarag. Twarag was the big one, right?
Ah, Torog, yep. Stoic, serious dude, very honorable. I like him. He was a good option for the kids.
Yeah. Are there other dwarven deities?
Oh my, yeah. There's I think probably about 8 to 12 of them. I can't recall them back home at my tavern. We keep them on the wall. Sometimes we let the kids come in and they can make little lines from one to the other. It's nice to give orphans something to pray to.
Yeah? Are you guys very. Excuse me, too much beer. Are you guys very religious back home?
Oh, not me, but my entire family up in High Home. Yep, they definitely got some gods in their lands, and I just like to stick with more people. You know, I'm a people person, not a religion type of.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm not really a people person, but you know, people are people.
Well, whether it's people or gods, whatever it be, as long as it makes you happy. Now, how about some more beer? I'm gonna gather up all the mugs in my arms.
There's quite a few on the table.
There's yeah. It looks like it.
Bottles.
It looks like there was a drinking contest held earlier that you missed.
That's amazing. With my background, I'm pretty sure I can at least balance a few on my hips. Some on my arms. I'll put one in my teeth as I carry it.
Yeah, I
Keep me
mean,
refilled.
you have some experience. Yeah.
I can like rummage around and pull out a bag and just put some of the extra ones in the bag because I just assume we're gonna like carry them in the back to be cleaned or something.
I lead you straight back over to the kegs, and I'm like, we could probably just settle down right here, drain this one dry.
Sure. You know?
Security pops down and starts filling the mugs and lining them up, and like nestles down for a good bit.
So, where are you from?
Oh, small town called Larkspur. I moved out of High Home when I was a kid and moved there. Lived a good life. Had a husband, got a lot of kids. We own a tavern and an orphanage. We're not that bad off. We have quite a bit of money. My uncle's back there, my kids, but I decided I needed to set out and do some good for the land. I'd raised enough children. I could raise some more children, I guess, out here. I hand her a beer to get her beard to grow.
So,
Arlen,
yeah.
before you continue,
yeah.
I'm gonna need you to make me a Constitution saving throw. You've been drinking quite a lot today.
You know, it's not
You're
too bad.
yeah.
13.
Yeah, you're definitely. I mean, you're not like wasted. You're not ready to throw up or anything. But man, it's you're starting to feel loose.
Your town. There are a lot of other dwarves there too.
Oh, let's see. There's all my children. I have quite a few children. There is my uncle, and I think we got a nephew that moved there recently, but I haven't been home in a few years, so I'm not quite sure about that one. But we're just outside of High Helm, and I tell you, nothing but dwarves. Oh, unless you count Sammy down the street, he's a little.
High home, you say?
Aye, High Helm.
I'll have to check it out.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's among the 5 King Mountains. It's green as far as the eye can see, tall peaks and beautiful dwarven cities. I tell you, if you want to go dungeon delving and find all kinds of beautiful scenery, that is the place for.
Dungeons?
Aye, old ancient ruins far deep beneath the earth that have artifacts and unique devices that I've never seen before. Carvings and sculptures and statues they were quite interesting, but I never got down too far as a girl. I would see them bringing them up in mining carts, though,
That sounds fascinating. I bet there's quite a few, like, really cool things you could do with artifacts and metal.
Oh, probably. We used to melt them down and make weapons out of some of the lesser ones. But if you stop by, maybe you could loom around the area and see them bringing.
Yeah, I'll have to do that. Hi home. She's like trying to look around and something to write it down and like look on a map for later. But
As you're looking around, you notice that the room is starting to fill up as paladins and paladin novices and staff and other people that live here start filtering in and taking seats at the tables. What looks like a kitchen helper is going around lighting candles as it's starting to get dark outside.
So, do dwarfs normally have big families?
We have quite a big family. I think my mother herself has 13 siblings. One of them got crushed by a rockfall last year, from what I understand. So we're down to 12. May he rest in peace. And my dad, I think his family was around 30, but his papa went through about 3 wives before he said.
Wow. That's a lot of siblings.
Myself, me and my Piercy boy, we had 6 children, and that's no counting all the adopted ones that I just couldn't let go from the orphan.
You know, you probably would have loved to meet Murray. She runs an orphanage back in Corvosa too.
Oh, really? What kind of place? What's the name? I might stop by, take a look around.
The orphanage?
That's his name. That is ingenious. Mine was just named after my family, but I didn't think of trademarking it like that. That's brilliant. She got something going for her.
Yep, I don't actually remember the name of the orphanage, but
You guys have never really named it. It's just an orphanage. You have a symbol,
yeah,
but not a name.
and a wolf's head outside.
Yeah.
Or a wolf trap, sorry.
Probably for the best, given that right now you're in an abandoned warehouse. And with this, there starts to be a hum and a dim of conversation as people are eagerly awaiting food. And I'd say about this time, you would see Rhea and Amelia walking in. And Rhea and Amelia, you see a Ross sitting down with Rhea, that dwarf you passed in the hallway. They are beards deep in a couple of mugs. I say a couple.
They took all the ones from the table. There's like 20 of them.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I would like to think we've at least gone through 12 of these 20 that we've relined up on the floor in front of us. I'm encouraging.
Wow.
Oh,
She's gonna get so sick.
She'll be fine. She just needs to sleep it off for the night.
I think Rhea's focused on just keeping her eye on Shala and the person that she's brought in.
Shala is ushering them out of the room. And she disappears for a moment. And then she comes back and takes a sigh, kind of brushes her skirts down, and then finds you and smiles and comes your direction.
Rhea smiles at her and just, like, over her shoulder is looking the way that Shala came from.
You know that corridor goes back behind the meat hall, and actually leads into like storage rooms and things of that nature.
That's not suspicious.
Definitely not. So, Amelia glances over at Aras. Does she they're still having like a full conversation, right?
Yeah, I mean they're talking, they're chatting. Aras looks a little rosy around the cheeks.
I can imagine.
But she's keeping it down.
I'm assuming Kitty. Actually, it's a very good question. Did Kitty follow you?
Yeah.
All right, so this is important to note. Kirani, when you guys went to go refill your mugs, a titanium skinned fox got up and started following you. Well, or I mean, Ross specifically, but both of you.
Okay.
And then when you sat down to have drinks, it would sit down and kind of curl up around her feet.
Tierney has accepted this as completely normal.
And Shala will come up to Rhea and Amelia and or get close to you, and then she would say, "Oh, well, we're all back. Amelia is how
I didn't actually see her, but I suppose they'll be doing their work.
you're not still angry at us, are you?"
She frowns a little bit at that and goes, I told you before, Shala, I wasn't angry at you. I had a conversation with Ria's father, and I do believe that I hope that this can be good for her.
She'll nod. Yes, it would be nice to believe that one can redeem themselves with help. And she kind of looks sidelong at Rhea as she says that. Should we sit down? And then she'll just go and have a seat like near a Ross.
I don't know, is there any room with all those fucking cups?
Oh, there's room to sit, certainly. They don't put
Aren't
mugs
they,
on
like-
the seats.
I thought they
I
were
don't
on the
know.
ground near the keg.
Yeah,
Well,
we're
no.
just surrounded by the keg.
Oh, I thought you would just pick a table near the keg, but okay, never mind. You're just on the ground. So in that case, you would just say, "Should we have a seat somewhere?"
We should. And Rhea will start leading them towards a few empty spots.
Amelia will follow.
All right. And before I move things on a little bit, anything else that any of you would like to roleplay?
Just Ross asking. I mean, I don't want to roleplay, but just Ross is asking any and all questions, Dwarf. So.
And I'm covering everything from government to trade to districts in High Helm to the Dark Lands and beyond. Things that I've seen and everything that I can pass through tradition to this poor young dwarf.
Who's obviously not had a proper upbringing. How do dwarf? Why dwarf?
What's the facial hair like? What is all this?
I mean, I gotta imagine it wouldn't like Aras, where she grew up. She would at least know about female dwarves and probably seen one, but it wouldn't have been a very common sight. Not in Corvosa.
Yeah, I mean, she probably saw one on the street, but never actually talked to one.
Right. Rhea, Amelia, anything before I move on just a little bit? Not very far.
Not really. Amelia's just quietly eating, kind of glancing over at Ross and her new friend.
I would like to just ask Shala. So, your new friend there in the storage rooms, wouldn't they prefer to come and eat?
Oh. And she kind of like scratches her neck. Well, your mother is bringing them food. She said that they could eat there. It's kind of, like I said, kind of a surprise. It's his, I mean, their idea.
I see. Well, all right then.
It's a way to say thank you.
She'll just start eating, very curious as to how she got this person to the castle without anybody knowing, or if they were already here or something.
Questions. Shala is equal mixes her quiet, shy self and also a little bit amused at how things are turning out. Like she knows something you don't, and it's kind of making you curious. And there's a little bit of her that's enjoying this. So, as the night carries on, dinner is brought to the halls. Rhea, this is something that, while you are very familiar with, it is something you have not seen in quite some time. Probably a little nostalgic, a little bit of the washing away of homesickness, as several attendants bring a veritable feast to all the tables. Everyone gathered in the room is just over 100 people, probably about 120, give or take. And it's very common tradition that at night, every night, everyone save those on guard duty, and sometimes even for special holidays, even them, enters the hall and has a meal together. It's a tradition that was started by your mother and father, under the idea that well, of course, you would know your parents view everyone as family. I mean, there's their family, but all the paladins are family to them, and that families should have at least one meal a day where they can sit down and just enjoy each other's company. So this is a very common thing here at the castle. And of course, in no time at all, the room is full of cheers and laughter and telling of stories, and all of your siblings are there. They would probably eventually join you at the table. Claire sitting next to Rhea, Diana and Daniel sitting on the other side of Shala, and still giving her sidelong glances. Sebastian probably sitting on the other side of Amelia, and your father and mother actually would be sitting at a table a little aside. But eventually everyone would join you in the hall, and the food is delicious. It's a lot of fruit and wheels of cheese, which you know had to have been imported somehow. Rhea, you of course know that the castle is a bit more self-sufficient than it gives impressions, as the out back past the castle wall there are some farms and gardens, but a lot of it is imported from Corvosa itself, and food is something that the paladins have never skimped on. So you guys can eat and be merry, and there's obviously no shortage of ale. Incredibly strong and fine ale, very smooth, very very nice and aged. And eventually, as the dinner carries on and people start to finish their meals, Cadence will stand up, and she'll bring up her hands and she'll call for quiet. And she'll say, "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for coming. And I'd like to welcome all our guests tonight. It is so nice to have so many new faces." And then she'll look at Kieran and some returning ones and nod to her. And there's a rousing hear in response. And she goes, I take great pleasure in letting you all know that we have a special treat tonight. As many of you are aware that have been here for any length of time, we have been visited on occasion, very rarely, by the Valentines. And I am very, very proud to tell you that tonight their youngest daughter, Shala, has graced us with her presence and is going to perform, as she tells me, for the very first time, a ballad. A ballad very special. But, of course, that's not for me to tell. Shala, please, dear. And she'll sit back down, and the rest of you immediately see Shala just start to get very nervous and kind of close in on herself as she does. And then she just kind of sits there, and all eyes turn to her. And then she kind of looks up at Rhea and she goes, well, hope you like it. And she will... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, she's going to be like, I'm sure I will.
She'll stand up very quietly and pull out her violin case. And she'll make her way to the front of the mead hall where there's a little raised dais, which is usually used to give speeches or ceremonies that aren't very important, but can also be used as a stage. And she'll get up there and she'll very quietly, it's like the room is paying rapt attention. Kirani, I would say that you would have at least heard. The Valentines are a world-famous bardic group. I'll leave it up to you if you've ever seen them before, but their performances are legendary. To have a Valentine grace your tavern or your house or your palace is an event indeed. So to even have just one of them is something that is curious and exciting. I mean, of course, I won't tell you how Kirani feels about it, but that's the common conception.
Does Kirani react at all?
She's been probably fairly loud in the back. She probably applauded when the bard took the stage. She has obviously cheered a little bit, but other than that, she's waiting for the performance. As far as the Valentines, she probably would like to hire one for her tavern back home, but probably has never seen them because that costs money, and ale costs money as well, and she kind of weighs which one she likes more.
Oh, and Valentines cost insane amounts of money. Almost as much as the ale that you consume. Almost. So she gets up there and very quietly and very nervously, like, opens the violin case and pulls out, again, her violin that you are all familiar with, but Kirani, it's just a beautiful onyx violin with purple roses running up the side of it that match her dress, which she's wearing a very almost Asian influenced dress that's split along the sides, and you can see black leggings underneath, but it is a black dress with purple flowers that run up it. And she will step forward, and she touches up above her and casts a cantrip, and almost like a purple halo of light shines down upon her. And as you see, as she comes up to the front of the stage, you see two novices bringing large, like, wooden tubs of water that they set to each side of the stage. And she goes, hello, my name is Shala, and I have had the pleasure of traveling with amazing heroes these past few weeks. As I'm sure many of you have heard, Quavosa had been gripped by plague lately, a very deadly plague known as the Blood Veil. Well, I had the great honor and pleasure and dream of a bard to travel with these heroes as they single-handedly saved the city. And tonight I have written a ballad that will show and tell of their deeds. And then she backs up and kind of quietly gets ready. And with this, like, the room is enraptured. Everyone's just kind of quiet and watching, or everyone else in the room.
Are we in? Is the for some reason I feel like the keg is in a different room. But is it in the same room?
The keg's in the meat hall. Yeah.
Okay, Ross is gonna groan and then start looking for, like, exits.
I mean, there's exits. hard to get to. Lots of people in this room.
Yeah. Does it look like he can kind of slink out?
Anything can be possible with a good enough dice roll.
Oh my gosh. Okay. We'll see how loud her shoes are.
Not bad. Yeah, you're able to quietly stand up and slink backwards out of the room. Once you're out of the room, what do you do?
Just stand right outside the door.
Okay, perfect. Of course, Kitty follows and pads alongside beside you. And after a moment, there's a soft sound of a violin that starts to play, and Shala steps back into the purple light. And you all begin to hear a smooth, familiar baritone voice of Ruin as he begins to chant a ballad. Of course, all of you recognize Ruin Mikova, who you searched for so long and found in the depths of the temple as one of the first Varisians that you saved. Or one of the last that you saved, technically. But one of the first that you knew had been taken. And his voice, in contrast to Shala's, is sure and well-spoken. And of course, you also would have known that he had trained as a bard. And he begins to tell a tale of the heroes of Corvosa. And as he tells this tale, Shala plays a wonderful, beautiful accompaniment to it. And more than that, the water in the tubs begin to take shape. At first, they rise up on themselves and form duplicates, watery duplicates of Shala playing a violin. Amelia, roll me an Arcana check. Rhea, you too, if you have proficiency in that skill. I don't remember if you do or not. Ross, you can't see any of this, so... No, that's good enough. This seems familiar. This is probably it's a cantrip, like control water or mold shape water. But while it is a cantrip, for someone to be casting two separate instances of it with such control is fairly impressive. And Ruin begins to tell the deeds of the adventurers, starting all the way with the investigation of the ship and how the adventurers, and he will say them by name, Aras, the mighty dwarf, Amelia, the quiet but fierce elven sorceress, Muri, the Kadal and kind mother. And then he'll get to Rhea and he'll say, Rhea, the brave paladin of the Lilac Order. And when you hear that, you see like Claire kind of like put an arm around Rhea and hug her like, that's my sister. And he will begin to, in cadence, in rhyme, talk of the adventures that the party had, the fight with the sea hag underwater, the negotiations, if you want to call it that, with the were-rats and saving as many as you could while taking down Grag's kids before he attacked the town. And the entire time, the entire story, Shala plays accompaniment to it, but more than that, she dances with it, and the shapes of water first begin to dance with her, but then as the story unfolds, the water takes shapes of miniature forms of your characters as they battle, and there are moments where, when Ruin is telling of the Battle of the Bridge, you'll see the shape take form of a small Rhea as she runs gallantly towards a large, what looks like watery earth elemental, and clashes with it. And you notice that the story, and most certainly the images, are a very romanticized version of what happens. Very heroic. There are things that you do in there that you did do, and there are things that you do in there that is a lot cooler than what you remember doing. Like, wow, that really makes you look better than you thought you did, if that makes sense. It's highly romanticized. And a great time and care is spent on saving of the orphan children, getting them out of Old Corvosa and risking your lives and fighting on the bridge to save them all. They tell the tale of going into the Blessed Maiden alone and fighting back the hordes of evil. Oddly enough, or maybe not oddly enough, maybe politically so, all mention of the Grey Maidens are left out, and only talk of the cultist of Endiason are spoken of by Ruin. And as the adventure grows, the deeds get more and more realistic as the acts of the party grew actually more and more heroic. And Shala continuing to play the song and continuing to cast the Shaping of Water, it gets more and more intricate to where you actually see the events unfolding, the ambush in the bottom of the temple, where the water splits into tiny 6-inch figures that swarm around the heroes, and the heroes strike them down one after another after another. Aras firing what looks like a straight bow of magic and fire, and Weary striking people down with her mace, and Rhea standing firm against all odds. They also spend time talking about the battle with the vampire spawn, where Rhea stood firm against the doorway, and this is shown by the water in brilliant display as it splits into 4 tiny versions of a vampire spawn that swarm, and Rhea stands tall against them. And like, Rhea, this whole time, like, your sister is just like, every time you're mentioned, every time you come up, she's like got her arm around you, or she's ruffling your hair, or she's punching you in the arm, like obviously incredibly delighted to hear that what her sister has been doing. It then moves on to the battle with Endiason herself. And things change a little bit here. There's no mention of Rolth, only of Endiason, and the Battle of Endiason seems to encompass things that happened in both. Aras runs up what looks like the wall and begins to walk upside down, still firing non-stop at Endiason. Weary and Rhea and Cressida charge forth with no caution and bravely confront her. And one thing you do notice in all of this, there is no Shala. There is no mention or talk of Shala at all. Only you 4. Amelia, there are obviously moments where you weren't there, but for the most part and for the end, you know, from the orphanage on, your character is just as much a part. And at the end of the tale, there is a moment where Endiason is descending upon Rhea with a clawed hand, and one final shot from Aras's bow, because it's hard to tell with the water shapes, hits the water figure of Endiason in the head, causing it to explode in a brilliant color of light. And with that, like, the whole audience just gasps as the tense music of the violin suddenly crescendos and then stops, and all the lights go out. And then when they come back up, it is the water has returned to the buckets, and Shala plays a happy, peaceful tune as Ruin finishes the story by talking of the accolades the city throws upon the heroes for being their saviors, and how the story of the heroes has only just begun, as their tale has far more adventures to experience. And then with that, Ruin comes out, and as he finishes the tale, he stands next to Shala, and with that, almost as quickly as it started, it was over. And you guys can see this entire time, I should mention as well, that Shala, despite her normal shyness and nervousness, once she started playing, once she started performing, all of it dropped away. and she lost herself in the performance. And now at the end, you can see her hair is soaked in sweat. Her perspiration runs down her face from the exertion of the performance. The entire room is enraptured. And when they finish the performance and take a bow, the room just stands up and cheers. After about 30 seconds or so, Shala will step up and Ruin will step up with her, and Ruin will say, "Please, my good paladins and travelers, we are not the ones you should applaud, but it is them." And he will point towards all of you, and of course not Aras because she's not in the room, and he will say, "I was captured in that temple. I had given up on all hope of life, and they risked everything to save me. The events that we just told you are true, and they are heroes true." And with that, the whole room erupts again, and Rhea and Amelia, you are just, and Van Castrican too, because he would have been part of the story, are just surrounded by clapping hands and congratulations and general revelry.
Boy, Amelia sure looks uncomfortable.
I can't imagine why.
Oh, total mystery.
This
Now
seems
you know.
exactly like her scene.
Now you know why Ross ran out the door.
Oh, God.
So, with that, the performance ends. Though the revelry does not. The next half hour or so is of people congratulating, asking questions about what happened in this, and it's Rhea, you see your mother and father still sitting where they normally sit, but they are looking at you with just pride. You actually see your father's eyes are moist. He's not crying. He's not crying. There's just something in the air. Sebastian is sitting on the table quietly, but he seems very pleased. Diana and Daniel, believe it or not, rush to Shala and start asking her all kinds of questions. As Claire starts like fending people off and being like, hey, give her some space. That's my sister you're talking to. How do you all react?
Rhea is just kind of flustered, but she's taking it in stride.
Very brave of you.
Amelia's gonna take a tip out of Aras's book and try and sneak out.
Oh no.
I want.
You may have waited way too long, but give it a try.
Oh, she's gonna try. Oh, man.
And yes, there was no mention of Annika. There seems to be a lot of things that Shala has judiciously left out of the story, either through concern of her friends or in effort to romanticize the story.
22.
Like this.
God damn it.
Yeah, well, so here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
That's a really great roll. It's a fantastic roll.
Mm-hmm.
But roll a disadvantage.
You can't stealth away from a crowded people looking at you. That's not how it works. I'm sorry. Maybe if you'd gotten a nat 20. Now that could happen.
Oh, God.
That and to note, there was no mention of Gadrian or Lamb or Rolth or any of those. So quite a few things seem to have been left out. Probably for the better.
Yeah,
probably. No mention. Well, no, actually, there would have been great mention of Jolestina, and how the group had saved her in hopes of rehabilitation, though it was touched on only briefly. So,
very briefly, I'm sure.
Amelia, you try and back out quietly, but I mean, it's too late. People are talking to you. They're trying to pat you on the shoulder. You're kind of stuck. But After about 30 seconds or so of this, Sebastian would come up and he would say, I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry. But Amelia had promised to, well, Amelia, that thing, yes?
After a moment, just like with a little bit of a panic in her eyes, she looks at him and goes, "Yes, yes, of course. I apologize, everyone. I should lead the way."
And Sebastian will like start parting the crowd for you. Rhea, you're left alone with your sister, and Sebastian takes you like out into the hallway, and he kind of gives you a sympathetic nod and a smile. And when you get out into the hallway, you see standing up against the wall. This is actually a different doorway than the one Ross snuck out of. Standing up against the wall, like red-faced and eyes shut, is a Van Castrican. Just like looking up at the sky. Seems like quite a few of you are not exactly the most socially adept.
Oh God, aren't we all? Jesus.
And Sebastian nods and he goes, well, take a few minutes out here. I'll try and distract them for you.
She nods at him and says, thank you.
He'll shake his head. No, thank you for keeping my sister safe. And then he'll turn around and go back into the room. Aras, what are you doing this whole time?
Hiding.
I was standing outside the room, listening initially, and then trying not to cry. So she's just standing there trying to compose herself.
Gotcha. Blissfully, luckily, no one comes out into the hallway. At least not as far as you can see. Kirani, when the performance ends, what do you do?
Oh man. She's standing up and bellowing, clapping her hands, and if she can reach one of these girls and put a hand on their shoulder, she will, probably with a mass amount of the crowd, just to make it more chaotic in front of their face.
Gotcha. Ross, the person you were talking to, that young dwarf, was one of the main characters. In fact, she killed Endiasen, but now she's gone. You don't quite remember where she went off to.
I'm heartbroken.
Aw. Rhea, you see that there's a complete and almost sudden shift with Diana and Daniel. After the performance, they are just asking Shala all kinds of things. Like Daniel's asking, how did she control the water? And was that magic? And it had to have been magic. And of course it's magic. And Danielle's just asking to see the violin over and over and over. Which, like, Shala gives like an uneasy glance at Rhea, like, should I?
She just kind of shakes her head no.
Shala, like, carefully puts the violin a little higher. But their attitude seems to have completely shifted. In time, the revelry dies down, and people begin clearing plates and preparing to rest for the evening. At that point, Julian and Cadence would come down for the first time, and they would hug first Rhea and then Shala. And Cadence would like hold Shala by the shoulder and say, that was magnificent, dear. Absolutely magnificent. I remember you when you were just a little girl. Your family came here once. I don't know if you remember. And Shala goes, I don't. She's like, oh, you were very young. You only did one thing. You came up on stage and you made a shape of water in the form of our order's symbol, the lilac rose. But it was gorgeous, and even then I could tell that you would become great one day. And Shala's just got this like really beet red face. Rhea, that sounds familiar to you.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
That sounds familiar to you. It sparks something in your memory.
Right. Where are they? In
Oh, they're like 5 feet away from you, 5-10 feet away.
so she'll just make a mental note of that then, and just watch the interaction.
And your father would come up to you and he would say, "So, you've been very busy, it seems."
I have, or we have.
Well, very few heroes ever work alone, eh? But still, save the city. I'm very proud of you, Ria.
Thank you.
And he'll give you a hug. Well, I'm going to go check on Jolistina. I'm sure she probably hasn't eaten and might need a little encouragement before she starves herself. And then it's off to bed, so the rest of you should probably look at going to bed soon, too.
Well, we'll see if Blair doesn't drag someone off again.
He'll smile and nod. And then make his way back down towards the dungeon. With that, is there anything else anyone would want to roleplay before we move on a little bit?
No?
All right, fair enough.
Anybody?
Amelia's just going to be hiding outside.
Yeah, like Van Kastikin like doesn't say a word to you. He seems to have been overloaded.
The feeling is mutual. I'm just imagining they like share like a brief glance of just understanding, and then
Yeah.
it's just quiet of just decompress.
Yeah, it's like one of those, in an instant you understand, and you also understand that no talking. There's no talking needed right now.
No.
I feel like Aras went and hid in a bush and fell asleep or something.
Okay. I mean,
Portly's out there. You better be careful.
yeah, there's plenty of bushes.
She needed to get some fresh air and just. Yep.
Got you. Kirani, what are you doing as the night winds down and people start going to bed?
I'm gonna take in all the ale I can, and then of course I'm gonna look for my new dwarven friend. If I can't find her, then I'm gonna go probably drink more beer and then crash out a little bit.
Roll me an investigation check. You guys have to forgive me. It's thundering out there.
Please find her. I'm begging you.
I know, right? Please, please, please.
I don't want her to.
I was like, is there any way I could give advantage on this? Not really, no. Oh, no. You look around. You don't see her. I mean, she's probably just gone to her room, or, I don't know, hidden under a bush or something. You can't find her. So with that, eventually everyone starts drifting out of the hall and making their way to the beds, and eventually Shala finds a moment to get away from the twins and get over to Ria, and she's still, like, her hair is still damp. It's clear that she's obviously exerted herself immensely. Ria, you're not, magic's not your first forte, but you at least know enough by now to, even cantrips, even low level spells, to use extensively like that has got to be exhausting. And she'll come up to you and she'll say, I hope that was okay.
Okay. Shala, that was amazing.
And she'll smile. Well, I meant every word of it.
I couldn't help but overhear your conversation with my mother.
Oh. I'm sorry. When I was very young, my family would take me to many places. They were all a blur.
Oh, no, it's fine. I suppose it jogged a memory.
A memory?
Well, I do. Of course, it was some time ago, but I do remember a bit of your family being here.
Oh. Oh, I must have been so awkward.
Well, I suppose no worse than you are now, and she'll kind of like nudge her playfully.
And then she'll kind of smile. And then she'll be sitting there thinking for a second, and then she'll say, wait. And like her eyes widen. Wait. Rhea, when you were young, what did you wear?
Clothes. No.
Yeah. No, duh.
Oh boy.
It's not anything that's previously established. You can just say what Rhea.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of what she would have worn. It would probably be more
Jinkos.
corduroys. More boyish, I guess. Like some trouser. I can speak trousers and a shirt.
And she would go, oh gods. I have one very clear memory from when I was young. I didn't remember where I was, but after my family performed, I know I had gotten on stage, and afterwards this, oh, Rhea, did you come up to me? Did you talk to me?
I believe I did.
I mean, a lot?
Yes.
Oh, Rhea, I'm so sorry. I was so young. I was so awkward. I was so rude to you.
No, I doubt I even noticed.
So, we knew each other before we even knew each other.
I suppose we did.
You know, as a bard, I'm supposed to believe in things like fate. But my family doesn't. I think this is the first time in my life I've seen strong evidence that they might be wrong.
She'll just smile at her.
I think if it's alright, I need to lay down.
Oh, of course. Have you been shown a room yet? I don't.
Yes, I have, thank you. Your mother put me in the hall across from you. Far, far across from you. And she kind of has a small grin. I wonder why she would do that.
Can only wonder.
And Shala will kiss you on the forehead and make her way to her room.
Leave room for Jesus. she'll watch her go and then I guess try and find the rest of the group to
Roll me an investigation check. Someone's gonna find a Ross.
You just have to ask your brother to find Amelia.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm not gonna make a roll an investigation check for you.
yeah, someone's gonna find a Ross and it's gonna be Portly in the morning when he needs to go to the
Probably.
bathroom.
Absolutely.
God! Rhea!
You.
You are just so distracted by the level of gay tonight.
You're.
It's like, holy shit, my girlfriend's so cute.
You're very. Your heads are in the clouds right now. You can't find your own shoes.
Oh my God.
I would say at some point you do run into, very quiet, almost like you almost didn't notice them at first, but Amelia and Van Casterkin are like on opposite sides of the hall, like right across from each other, just standing there, not talking.
100-yard stairs.
Yeah.
Like... so many people. God.
She'll kind of just look between them. Oh, am I interrupting something?
Oh God, Rhea.
What? Oh. No.
We were
Just I was
taking a moment.
right.
Oh my God. So, yeah, Amelia shakes her head and goes, where's Ross?
I have no idea.
This is when Amelia hopefully rolls better than a 1.
A 2. Ross, who knew that your sneaky skittles of the
Oh, for fuck's sake. I have a +7.
For the love of God, guys, she's just under a bush. She didn't think this through.
She's in really well, Squeeze. Okay?
She's plastered, not the master of disguise.
We're all just so off our game tonight. It's terrible.
Yeah, no one finds a Ross.
Yeah, y'all are off your game. I'm sleeping on a bush, safe and sound.
Ironic from the large stench of alcohol that's probably leaking off of her right now.
To be fair, I feel like a lot of people are kind of drunk right now.
Yeah, like if you were trying to follow that scent, you'd probably go right to Kirani's room.
Is that beer bush breathing?
So everyone finds their way to their beds eventually. Van Casterkin would, of course, awkwardly excuse himself and bow to both of you and mumble something about checking on his troops, making sure they're not getting into trouble.
Probably a good idea.
Oh, go ahead.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
Oh, all right. Then is it safe to say you two would eventually find your beds as well?
Yep.
Yup.
All right.
These are just like single bedrooms, correct?
Well, there's different sizes, of course, but yes, the ones you're put in are single bedrooms.
Okay.
And they're very comfortable. They are, given what you're used to lately, these are almost luxurious. They're very soft beds with downy pillows, a nightstand and a wash basin in every room, a window that looks out into the mountain, even though it's nighttime, so you can't see much, but very, very comfortable for what you're used to. Rhea, you're given your old room back, which you find is exactly the way you left it.
Dust bunnies and all.
At some point in the evening, Aras, adorable Aras, sleeping under a bush, the only person that didn't make it back to their rooms. Your rest is fitful, which is common for you. And at some point in the night, you begin to dream again. And it's a familiar dream on a level, but no matter how familiar it gets, it doesn't seem to get any better. You are back in that room. There's a body with blood underneath it in front of you. Gadrian smiling sickly at you with blood dripping from his rapier. And again, like 100 times before, you reach out to turn the body towards you. But this time, before you touch the body, you hear a voice. Why do you do this to yourself? You jump up, you hear from behind you the voice is coming.
Look around to see if I can find out where the voice is coming from.
You see, sitting on one of the tables in the lab, a lean, beautiful half-elf with wings of a butterfly floating gently behind her. She's sitting lightly and has her head cocked almost curiously as she looks at you. Beautiful, beautiful golden eyes. This is definitely not something you've ever seen in a dream before.
Mother? Is that you?
No, I am not your mother, Arlen.
I go back like I'm reaching over to turn over the body.
Don't.
But I have to. I have to help him.
You already have. Do you know who I am?
Can you help me?
She steps up off the table and starts to walk around you, calmly. 1,000,000,000 dreams I wander every night. And of the dreams I wander, I find yours, screaming in pain and sorrow, every night 1,000 times. Why? Why do you relive this over and over?
Because he's not safe. This is where I left him. I need to make sure he's safe.
Do you know what happens when you reach out for that body? Think. Search. You know what happens, don't you?
This time I can make it different.
No. No, Arlen. Not in a dream. You but torture yourself night and night and night again. Why?
So I don't forget, so I can stop him from doing it to others.
She takes a step closer to you and looks up at you. As in this dream, you are not a dwarf. Do you honestly think that you would ever forget this?
I don't know where to go from here. I mean, this day was the day that everything stopped.
Sometimes you can face an event so horrible that you forget what's important. The journey, Arlen. The journey is important. And coming back here every night halts your journey. Do you want to know where to go from here?
Um, I don't know. I'm afraid.
All journeys involve fear.
But what if I get somebody else hurt?
She continues walking around you. What if you do? Tell me something. All you've done, all you've seen, all you've experienced. How many lives have you saved?
She just kind of looks down. She knows the answer. She just doesn't want to.
Yeah.
She's kept count of like everybody that lived in the warehouse. Everybody she can think of.
After
That's
about...
like everybody that she knows.
Right.
She has like saved somehow, had a hand in saving their life. She's made a tally on the road up.
After about 30 seconds of silence, you feel a warm, comforting hand touch your chin and lift your eyes up. Tell me, Arlen, were any of those lives saved in this room?
No.
That is because the journey is out there. The journey is forward. You cannot save lives here. You cannot change the past.
But I don't know how to move forward.
I could show you, if you wanted.
How?
She backs up. By the same way everyone else does. One step at a time. Arlen, I need your help.
Why me?
Because your dreams called to me. Their suffering, their sorrow, their pain. Because I can see in you an eagerness for the journey, to travel, to experience new things. And I see how this dream corrupts it, twists it, stops it. I cannot abide that.
Can you make them stop? Can you change them?
I can grant you peace for a time. And I can show you how to move on, to truly move on. But it will not be fast. It will not be easy.
I'm not here. I'm no longer looking for the fast route. I mean, that didn't get me very far. And, I mean, look around. Nothing about this is easy.
True enough. Then, Arlen, my dear sweet dwarf, she says, raising an eyebrow, will you help me? And in return, accept my help?
I don't know who you are.
You will. You will hear me whenever you are on the road. You will see me whenever you look forward. My name is Desna.
She's just kind of like speechless at that. You know, she tries to like talk a few times. And then finally she gets out. She always used to talk about you. But I never really thought you were real. I thought you were a way she coped with things.
That is not an uncommon response. But you've seen too much to believe anything else now. Arlen, some of my devotees, travelers, peaceful, kind people, have gotten lost, and I fear they are in grave danger. There is another, like me, that touches this land, that seeks to sow chaos. Will you find my poor lost travelers?
Where would I look for them?
Follow the butterfly. And with that, she touches your forehead, and the dream fades. And for the first time in a very long time, you rest peacefully. You wake up early in the morning, feeling some sort of wet, warm sensation as a giant corgi licks your face.
Do I even have a hangover?
Roll me a constitution check.
Check or save?
Save, sorry.
Oh!
Not even a little.
Wow. Natural 20.
Yep.
Well, that was interesting. Has the sun come up yet?
The sun is just cresting over the horizon. And normally, when you wake up, you remember the dream in fragments. I mean, you know the dream well enough by now, but this time, everything happened in perfect clarity.
Okay. Is there any place where she can sit and watch the sunrise?
Absolutely.
So she's gonna just sit out there for a few hours.
You climb the rampart to one of the towers, and you're able to watch the sunrise, considering events. The rest of you, I would assume, get up not too long after. What do the rest of you do in the morning?
Not talk to a goddess, I guess. Damn. Shit, dude. I don't know, just get up like normal.
Get up in just the mundane human elf ways.
Yeah. You know. Like you do.
Camellia just wakes up feeling an immense sense of jealousy for some reason.
Just like every other day.
Of course, Schaller was probably up before anyone, but it's going to be about 3 hours before she's ready, as usual.
Got
Yeah.
time.
But when Rhea does wake up, she will get ready and she's gonna go knock on Shala's door.
Come in.
I don't have my face on yet.
No, come back in 3 hours.
You can't see me the day before. Right now.
Oh wow. Good thing I learned ceremony.
No, she says, come in.
She'll enter.
And you'll see Shala sitting at the chair in front of the mirror, brushing her hair. Good morning.
Good morning.
Sleep well, I take it?
I did. How did you?
Oh, Rhea, these beds. I love the orphanage and the time I've spent there, but I have missed a down pillow.
I understand that.
And she'll smile.
I actually wanted to talk about a few things, if you wouldn't mind.
Of course not.
And she'll close the door behind her and I guess just kind of stand there. And she'll say, it's... Do you remember some time ago, that night after we returned from the quarantine ship?
Yes, I remember.
And you also remember the conversation that we had that night?
She'll look down. I wasn't able to keep my promise.
That's not what I... That's not why I brought this up.
Oh.
I remember that you had said that the conversation had greatly saddened you, yet also made you very happy. But I seem to recall, and she'll look at her apologetically. I seem to recall that I made you cry. I think I just failed to see how any of that conversation made you happy.
She will put the brush down and smile. Despite all my appearances to the world, I have spent most of my life learning how to maim and kill and hurt. You were the first person I ever met that didn't just believe in another way, but believed in it so vehemently that you would risk your life for it. And what's more is you were trying to help me. Not physically, trying to help me be better. Perhaps you do not realize. Why should you? It was the first time anyone has ever done that for me. The conversation made me sad because I, at the time, thought that life would never be mine. That I could never be that person you saw in me. But the fact that you saw it in me made me happy.
Well, I'm glad.
So am I. And if I may admit, Despite the fact that I still fear what may happen, I'm glad you didn't send me away like I asked.
She'll walk up to her and say, "So am I."
She'll smile. And then they
Um,
snogged.
Oh boy.
Alright, yes, I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
No worries. She'll kind of she'll get a small frown on her face for a moment. And she'll say, "There is something else, though.
Oh?
Not quite as well, not at all cheerful, I suppose. Especially given what has recently come to light."
She'll look at you patiently.
You also said that night that you would do what you could to keep everyone safe. And that you did not want to see anything happen to any of us. I'm sorry if I seem rude saying this. I'm just trying to understand everything that's happened. But with what you've told all of us recently, you would have been sending those reports
To my
to
family.
your... Yes.
Yes.
I suppose I just want to know if you meant what you said then.
At the time?
Yes.
No. Not that I wished you any ill intent or malice, but I once, when I was young, I once watched a fox catch a rabbit. The rabbit was I thought, a friend of mine. I would see it every morning. I saw the fox coming. I saw it stalk and catch the rabbit. And I could do nothing. I was too far away. I was too weak. I was too helpless. That does not mean I wished any harm upon the rabbit. I felt much the same way at that time. I could not stop the storm that was coming your way. So I lied to you. But I hated myself for it.
She's quiet for a long moment. And eventually she just nods. Well, I suppose that now that that's out of the way,
Is it? Do you understand what I'm saying, Rhea? The fox is still coming. I have made peace with that. I know now that I will stand in the way, but I do not think I will be able to stop it.
You won't be alone.
She smiles. I know.
And then she'll just, she'll take a seat at the edge of Shala's bed. And almost absent-mindedly, she'll say with a small smile on her face, "Oh, Shala,
Yes?
I do plan on keeping the one promise that I did make that night."
She kind of blinks at you. I don't understand.
We will find a reason to use the name Alessandra.
She looks at you for a long time. Then she smiles. I don't deserve you, you know that.
I don't think that deserving has anything to do with it.
No. You never would. And then she starts to stand up and then like sits back down in a swoon. She goes, oh. I fear I may have rather overdone it last night.
Well, I'm sure they won't miss us for a while.
She nods. I am very tired, she says. Will you stay for a while?
Oh, of course.
And
Oh, go ahead.
No. She just starts to like lay down on the bed again.
As Ria's just kind of sitting there, not sure what to do.
She'll go, tell me stories. What it was like growing up here. It's up to you. You don't have to roleplay that if you don't want to. You could just say Ria does or doesn't.
Yeah, she'll probably start off with like, oh, when she was younger and Claire's one of many antics.
A prank or 8.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. But yeah, she seems very she's not injured by any means, but she seems very exhausted.
Gotcha.
All right. So, Kirani.
Yeah.
What do you do when you wake up in the morning?
First she starts off by chewing on a piece of wood to clean out her teeth, and then she goes down for her morning ale, and then her second morning ale, and then her morning breakfast ale, and then her after breakfast ale. and then she'll probably just start meandering around with as many drinks as they allow her to carry around on her person.
Did you actually have breakfast at some point, or did you just skip it, go straight to the ales?
Skip it, go straight to the ales.
Yeah, no, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Full stomach's a full stomach.
All I need is a piece of bread after this, and I'll be good to go for at least a day.
Gotcha. Amelia, what about you?
You know, I had a thought about what she was gonna do, but then I totally forgot.
She's
But
too busy
whatever.
judging the gay.
Um,
You realize you're only making it worse for yourself someday.
yeah, I know. It's whatever. Also, I feel like this is tyranny right now. um, yeah, no, honestly, like Shala made a pretty damn good point because since the beginning of this journey, Amelia's just slowly been upgrading as far as like room and board. And this is like really cushy.
Yeah,
considering.
down feather pillows.
Yeah, so she's probably going to just like soak in an extra hour or so of just like not even sleep, just laying there comfortable, like, wow, my back has never felt so good.
Gotcha.
Uh,
So, Ross, as you're trying to push Portly off of you, you do still have the memories of the night before and a almost an echo in your head of follow the butterfly. And as you're kind of standing up and getting ready, you hear a familiar voice of Claire off about 20 feet away. Did you sleep in the bush?
It was a rough night. I
Yeah.
don't think I've ever drinking that much, all combined in my life.
And she'll throw an arm around your shoulder. I knew there was something I liked about you, Ross. Who needs beds? Bushes are fine.
Right? I mean, you know, you're asleep. It's not, ow, wait, okay, no, that hurts my neck. I should not move that direction.
Yeah, bushes have problems.
It's alright. Nothing, a little bit of exercise in the morning.
It's a breakfast. You should get some breakfast.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Roll me a perception check.
Eight.
You notice a strange, out of the corner of your eye, a small blue and purple fluttering. But when you look that direction, it's too small to tell.
Oh, damn it. No, I thought it was a dream. Oh no, she's gonna hate this.
Who's gonna hate what?
Just. Oh. I kind of like look up and down. Is there anybody around?
No, it's just Claire at the moment. Well, and Portly, who's just sitting off about 10 feet away, panting, wagging the tail.
Can you keep a secret? I feel like you'll enjoy this, though.
Well, for a drinking buddy, I'm sure I can keep one or two.
So you've heard of the Schwanzi, right?
Of course, I've met them many times. wonderful folk. A little mistrusting, perhaps, but you get into a few fights by their side and they'll trust you right fast enough.
Have you ever heard of the Black Walk?
I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
It's a practice by the Linqua, the Moon Clan. And when you're on this Black Walk, they say you're supposed to see your totem.
You mean like some sort of animal?
Yeah, like a spirit totem.
Interesting.
I think mine's a butterfly.
She pauses, raises an eyebrow. Could be worse, I suppose. Could be a green slime.
I mean, oh. Look at me.
Could be a beholder.
Do I look like I would follow a butterfly?
Why not?
I mean, a beholder's something you could get behind, you know. They're pretty bad, from what I hear.
They're really bad, she says.
You know...
So you got a butterfly for a totem. Ross, and she crosses her arms. After the stories I heard last night, I think you're justified in having any totem you want.
I'll drink to that.
She'll nod. To the kitchen, then.
To the kitchen.
And you guys make your way to the kitchen. Probably running into Kieran with like 4 mugs of ale.
Starting on breakfast already, Kieran?
Oh, starting early. You always gotta start early. You probably better get drinking too. Look at you. You ain't even got some peach fuzz on you yet. Come here, you can share my...
I have like a few hairs.
Oh, let me
Maybe.
see. Come here, let me touch him.
There's like nothing there. Totally smooth.
All right. You're getting the start of it. I can see it. Oh, you're gonna blossom fast when you blossom, I tell ya.
Yeah, so what are we doing today?
Ooh, I'm gonna be drinking, and then drinking some more, and you let me know if you need help reading any of those books.
Well, as fun as that sounds, I think I might go outside the castle for a bit. See if I can find a little adventure. It's good to be home, but I go stir crazy if I stay in here too long.
Where are you going outside the castle?
Oh, I don't know. We're surrounded by mountains. There's always something to find. Animals to hunt, or sights to see. Maybe I'll get lucky and find some goblins.
Ooh, I like where he's thinking. You shouldn't be hurting goblins. They're not too bad.
Why? And she kind of like gives a kind of a serious look. She goes, I never start a fight. But if I happen to pass one that finds me, she kind of like shrugs and leaves the words hanging in the air.
It's been years since I've gone for a good hunt in the forest. This sounds like fun.
Yeah, you should come. We should all go. It'd be good to spend.
Down.
I'm sorry, say it one more time.
He just says, I'm down, alright.
Excellent. I'll see who else is interested. I didn't expect to have company. And
would you guys possibly have a bow I could use?
Sure, of course. We have tons of weapons. We are a paladin order after all, and while I wouldn't say combat's our first calling, it is certainly something we are trained in.
It's been way too long since I've shot a longbow.
Well then, a longbow it is. And she'll stand up and start to leave, pause, grab a mug of ale, and then go.
All right. I will follow because I need to find a longbow.
Oh, yeah. So first things first, she would take you to the armory. And in the armory, you see it's actually a building set somewhere in the castle. And it is lined with weapons and armor and shields, all well made, finely crafted. On the walls, you see a collection of short and long bows and quivers of arrows. And she'll say, take your pick.
Okay, I need to make sure bows are actually simple weapons.
Yes.
Okay.
Not long bows, though, I don't think.
Yeah. I think then a short bow.
Actually, I think both bows may be martial weapons.
Okay,
Sling is the only simple ranged weapon, or daggers.
that's fine. I'll use a longbow then.
A long sling. I meant to say a long sling.
I'll use a longbow.
Okay.
I'm
take-
assuming I get disadvantage at that on that.
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
I mean, if you're not
Yeah,
proficient.
if you're not proficient, you get disadvantage.
Okay.
And then after that, Claire would start marching towards the rooms, and she would first bang on Ria's door. And after no answer, she would hesitate, and she'd go, "Oh, I bet you I know where she is." And she'll walk down the hallway, then bang on Shala's door. Ria? Ria?
She'll just look towards Shala.
Shala's actually drifted off to sleep with your stores.
Oh boy, okay. So she'll get up and open the door.
We're going hunting. Are you coming?
Oh, she'll look back towards Shala. I suppose so.
And she'll look over and see Shala in bed. Well, she's a late sleeper.
Sure.
I mean, if I can drag you away from her for a few hours.
I'm sure that would be fine.
Excellent. And she'll clap you on the shoulder. You do remember how to use a bow, don't you?
I am checking what Ria has, actually.
By the way, since you would know this, Claire doesn't know how to use a bow. She doesn't use bows. She's got a shield and a sword. What does she need bows for?
Yeah, I think she and Ria are both
Of like mind.
fighters. She'll kind of look off to the side. It's been a while.
Well, slings it is then. She kind of gives you like a wink, like a knowing wink. And then starts marching down the hallway. And Amelia, Claire's loud enough that you're hearing her through your door. So you can hear much of the conversation. Amelia?
You're muted.
Amelia says what? She might be taking a break. Alright, Kearney, what are you doing? Are you planning on going? Uh-oh.
I'm still here.
The Valentines got them.
Bum bum bum. The fox came.
I think Amelia might have actually be having internet problems. She just got kicked from Fantasy Ground.
Oh no.
Yep.
Oh
You're right.
no. All right then. Actually, you know what? This isn't a bad place to. Well, no, we still have time. We can keep going. Let's see if the internet comes back. How are you guys? Are you guys? Do you want to stop here? Do you want to keep going for a bit?
I'm good to keep going.
I'm good.
All right, we'll wait for the others then.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to set that up.
You just shot that poor stable boy.
Just arrow flies down the hallway. Ah!
Yep.
Hi, so
Oh.
my internet dropped for like I don't know how long.
Oh no. Well, so you would have been hearing from your room, Claire's loud voice as she's convincing Rhea to go on a hunting trip with her.
Does Rhea sound particularly convinced, or
She says yes. Does Rhea ever sound particularly convinced of much? Hard to tell, right? She's such a quiet person. But she did say yes, and that she thinks she remembers to use a bow. It's been a long time.
Do they have crossbows?
Oh yeah, they have an armory full of things.
Better question is, what don't they have?
Right.
Fair point. Are you gonna connect? You can see it. I know you can. It's right there. All you. Oh my god.
And I think Wings is still having. I mean, I think.
I'm here.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Kearney? Are you getting ready for the trip?
Oh man, yeah. Like she's checking her sword and shield. She's checking her bow. She's super excited. Just go do some stuff with some people.
Alright.
Hang out, make new friends.
So that means at least one of you knows how to use a bow.
Amelia knows how to use a crossbow, and that's about the extent of it.
Well, they do have crossbows, so you'd be fine there.
Rhea doesn't need a bow. She's a tank.
Also, Aras, that should be noted too. They have crossbows.
Yeah, but it's not an actual bow.
Right. No, I mean it's not a longbow. I'm with
I
you.
mean, Aras has her crossbow.
Right. No, I'm just
So,
saying. So yeah.
She
So
just intentionally wanted to shoot a longbow.
gotcha. So Amelia, would you come out and join them?
Eventually, after a bit, she would haul herself out of bed and get dressed and ready and wander down the hall to where all the commotion is going on.
Yeah, you would see like Aras and Claire and Rhea marching out with full equipment, and Claire would be saying, "Best to bring everything. The mountains can be dangerous. Not too dangerous, but somewhat dangerous. Interesting dangerous."
Yeah, Rhea's already stepped away to get her armor and everything.
And then Claire would go, "Oh, good morning, Amelia. We're going hunting. Would you like to join us?"
I can't say whether or not I would be particularly good at it.
Have you ever tried?
Not in the traditional sense.
Well, excellent. Then I guess we'll find out, won't we?
She opens her mouth like a little hesitantly, like she's gonna be like, but then kind of glances at everyone and shrugs a little bit in defeat, like, sure.
And Claire will stop by her room and also don her armor. And in about 10 minutes or so, she'll come back out wearing half plate with a longsword and that fantastic looking rose shield on her back that looks something like this. And she'll say, "All right, Well, shall we?
If I could before we go,
Yes.
could I possibly bother you for a longbow? I think I left mine back in the back town I was in. I got me a crossbow, but I could definitely, teach somebody maybe how to shoot it.
Claire like kind of blusters. I mean, maybe you could give Aras lessons. Yes, that's an excellent idea. Sure, in the armory, right this way.
Wonderful.
I see the plus sign.
That was it.
That was it.
I'm
So-
confused. Is she gonna teach me how to shoot a longbow?
I think she's more trying to cover that she doesn't know how to use a longbow.
Okay.
No, I know how to use a
No.
longbow.
I meant Claire.
Oh,
She takes you down to the armory, and you have your pick of the longbows. The armory itself has a plethora of weapons. It's very well equipped, so you can choose a longbow for yourself and a quiver of arrows. She takes one as well. And as you all are sitting in the armory getting equipped and ready to go, you see Sebastian come in. Was there something I wasn't aware of?
No, we just wanted to go hunting outside the castle. It's too nice a day to stay inside.
Ah, right. Well, be careful out there. The mountains are, and like Clara cut him off. Dangerous, yes, I know. We already told them. You should come with us. And Sebastian's like, ah, there's too much to do here. You guys have fun. Really, I mean it. Have a good time.
Surely they won't miss you for an hour.
Well, unfortunately, some of us have responsibilities here that must be seen to. But I look forward to seeing what you catch. And then he'll fairly briskly walk out of the room before too many complaints can be raised. And Claire kind of sarcastically shrugs. She goes, sometimes I don't know what or how Mom and Dad... Sometimes. She's like trying to find words for it. She's like, he's an odd one. Especially in this family.
I mean, there's one in every family, right?
Right. Sure. Absolutely. But I just thought that was Rhea. And she gives like Rhea like a playful glare, or not glare, look.
If anything, it's you.
Hang on, guys.
So, should we have a little wager on this?
Guys, I need about a 5-minute break.
Okay.
Sorry about
Alright.
that. I'll be back in just a
Okay.
little bit.
What kind of wager are you suggesting?
Also, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Because fucking shit. Anyways, stupid internet aside.
That's an excellent point. Would dwarfs be able to shoot a longbow?
I mean, yeah, I'll just balance it against my foot.
There are like smaller versions of longbows for smaller creatures.
Yeah, we're gonna see how well this goes, because Ross was much taller when she
Right.
last shot a longbow.
You can do it.
Oh. Alright, so wager, I say who bags the most meat, like edible, per, the trip wins 5 gold.
What are we even hunting?
Whatever's in the woods.
There's a lot of things that live in woods, dear.
And they aren't edible?
I mean, I guess you could possibly eat it. If that's really what you want to do, depending what it is. Let's start out with maybe some wolves or maybe a bear, some deer. You got deer in these mountains.
I guess we'll have to wait for God to come back and say what's in the mountain.
Dragons.
I don't want to see a dragon.
Butterflies?
Oh,
Sadly, those went extinct with the plague.
Well, shit.
You're hallucinating.
Yep. She would believe that before other things. But, you know, reasons.
Mm-hmm. Well, you guys have fun shooting stuff. Ria's gonna stand there looking pretty.
There's nothing new.
I thought that was Shala's job.
Wait. So you agree that Amelia watches Ria stand there looking pretty?
God damn it. Oh.
Sure, we've all talked about it behind her back.
So you're all watching Ria look there pretty. Is there something you guys wanna talk about?
No, it's fine. We'll just pine silently.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say that Ria's pretty monogamous.
Yeah, we noticed.
Don't worry, when we kill your girlfriend, then you'll have to find somebody
Jesus
new.
Christ.
I thought that was awesome when she was talking about a fox killed a bunny. I was like, shit. Shala the bunny and Ross is the fox.
Better be careful, because Ria's gonna be the bear.
Damn.
Oh, man. Good times. Are you having fun? Kearney?
oh yeah, absolutely.
Good.
What do you guys all think of Ria's interesting family so far?
They're fun.
They're a lot.
I mean, you know.
Like, in a really good way, but also, like, oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
For a Ross, it's refreshing to be around a more stable family dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know.
Something that almost none of you have.
Look, man.
Yes.
How do you know?
Because I know some of your backstories. Y'all got some shit going on. Want you all to know that this is a safe place.
It's a safe space. You're free to talk about your trauma. Whatever's said in the safe space, does it stay here?
I mean, it goes on to YouTube, so no.
Touche.
Well, I mean, YouTube's kind of an integrated part of the safe space, so technically.
Oh, man. always like, oh man, who's Ross gonna tell about the butterfly? Who's Ross gonna tell? Oh, well, there we go. Somebody completely not important.
Rude. That's my sister you're talking about.
Inconsequential? Better? I mean, from her point of view, she's like, I can confess something to this random person and never see him again. She hasn't thought about the wedding.
Brave of you to assume you're invited.
Damn.
Oh, damn.
Maybe after we get a Ross and Satomi figured out. Maybe then. We do still have that love potion. We
Yep.
do. Wait,
Yeah,
we
do.
should save that for Amelia and Van Castigan. I mean...
No. God.
In fact, I mean, this would be a good safe space. You already said it was a safe
Hey,
space.
Amelia, we made some chocolate. Do you
Oh
want
my
some?
God.
Van Castigan, do you want some?
Y'all are
It's,
ridiculous.
This sweet tasting liquid causes the character drinking it to become enraptured with the first creature she sees after consuming the draft. It's as if charm person DC 14 will save negates. The charm wears off after 1d3 hours.
But it can't wear off if it was already there.
Oh my God. I cannot believe you guys.
Listen, man, it's endgame.
Have y'all never heard of a slow burn?
Hello.
Exactly. Endgame.
Sorry about that.
Oh my God. The very last chapter, they hold hands.
So what'd I miss?
We're debating whether or not to slip Amelia or Van Castigan a love potion. We're making a bet.
Wow.
Portly ate the butterfly.
Wow. Oh my God.
Jesus.
Well, there's adventure closed off. So the 5 of you begin to make your way out of the gate, and so I'm trying to think here. Well, here's a good question. Would you guys go on mounts or on foot?
I don't know. I feel like this is a question for a Ross.
Or Kirani? Kirani, do you ride a mount of any kind?
I mean, I could, but I would prefer foot, especially for tracking animals in the forest. I don't want to be club.
Yeah, same. I would prefer foot for hunting. I mean, we can ride to a particular hunting spot if necessary, but I thought you were just bragging about how many animals there were in the wolves. I mean, in the forest. Damn it. I had way too much beer to drink already for breakfast. I'm sorry.
Kirani's a bad influence on you. I mean, the best influence on you.
She's a good influence. You've been steering her the wrong direction. She can't hit anything. She's not drinking enough.
So you guys make your way outside of the castle over the bridge, and you get to the end of the bridge. Aras,
Yes.
you notice as you guys are walking, a blue and purple butterfly flutters off to the left, around and down towards a veil.
Oh. She whispers shortly under her breath, for fuck's sake, and then just starts walking that way. Does anybody from the group notice?
That you just start walking off a certain direction?
Yeah.
Well, everyone's passive perception is 2, so no. No, I think...
I don't know if they were like where we didn't decide where we were in the party,
I can
They
imagine
could've
I imagine like the group just goes a separate direction. Like an hour later, like, where did Ross go? Yes, it's very clear. Ross just starts heading off down a certain direction.
Is she?
I guess we're going that way.
I guess so.
Ross, where are you going?
We gotta go this way. I have a feeling. Call it a hunch.
She kind of just looks around at everyone else.
Have
Claire-
I ever steered you wrong?
Claire just shrugs.
I don't want to answer that.
It'll be interesting. Can promise you that.
Interesting isn't the issue, I would think.
Just looks like the right direction to go.
Claire kind of shrugs and she goes, to be fair, we didn't really have a destination.
Can we please go this way?
Amelia kind of looks at you weird, like, I suppose?
Rhea just shrugs and leads Portly that way.
I'm already on my way down the trail if that's the way she wants to go.
Oh, so Portly's coming, just walking behind you?
Yes.
Awesome.
She summoned him, he's going to stay.
That's true. I'll pull this out a little narratively. Ross, you keep following a certain blue and purple butterfly. Everyone else, roll me a perception check.
Oh boy.
Because we've been doing so well.
I know.
16.
7.
Hang on, I clicked something weird.
I do that all the time.
Kearney attacks Ross. Oh, okay. Kearney, you've been traveling a long time. And you're under the impression, you guys are going hunting, so you're keeping your eyes out, you're just noticing things, you're in hyper aware mode. And it takes some time. It takes a good hour or so of Ross just going random directions. You realize, wait a second. I think Ross is following a butterfly. There's a blue and purple butterfly, and I swear it's like Ross is following it because it never seems to get farther away.
I'm gonna ask her something in dwarf.
Oh boy.
Uh-huh.
Nope.
You're the only one that understands it.
Fantastic.
Nope. She's gonna look at you like, are you talking to me?
Oh boy, you really need to touch more base with your roots.
Yeah. It's a recent development.
That's a little butterfly, your friend, is it?
It's a Shawanti hunting trick.
Something using that bug.
Real quick, roll me a deception check, Araz.
Oh my god. I need to see that.
16.
I mean, the rest of you can choose if your character would roll insight against that or not. Amelia, yeah, you know Ross is lying through her teeth. Rhea, I mean,
God
I
damn
mean,
it.
sure, it's a Shawanti hunting trick. What do you know?
You've never met a Shawanti.
Yes, I have.
So, Amelia, you and hang on, give me a second here. You, Claire's like, it's a Shawanti hunting trick.
Lady Butterfly.
Like, I think I heard about that one.
Amelia, you've been around us longer than anyone else here. You can tell when she's trying to pull a fast
Pull
one.
one over.
Yeah.
She's just getting flashbacks to any time like a hole appeared in the wall, and she's just like, really, I swear, I have no idea where that came from.
One time. Well, twice actually, but I only shot one hole.
So everyone else though seems to, I mean, it's a pretty, yeah, sure, Shawanti hunting trick. That's neat. Learned something new today.
But it's only the special purple and blue ones.
Another 2 hours pass. Anything you guys would want to do during those 2 hours?
Along the way, Amelia's gonna like slowly migrate up to walking beside Aras, and then after a bit go Shawanti hunting trick.
Yes?
She's gonna side-eye you, just like, seriously.
It's... I have a feeling this is just the way we need to go.
Aras, what's going on?
She'll kind of ask everybody, hey, can we take a break? I need a rest. We've been walking far enough. And try to pull Amelia off to the side.
Yeah, everyone, Claire would take a break and kind of lean against the tree.
Belia would go off to the side with Ross.
And while you're going off the side, you kind of hear Claire saying, well, no, Ross was telling me that she thinks her totem's a butterfly. I guess butterflies are very important symbols to the Shawanti.
Oh my god. Can I roll something to see if any of that means anything to Rhea?
Sure, I guess that would just be a straight knowledge history check.
So history.
Knowledge history, yeah. How much do you know about the Shawanti?
Please let me roll well. I'm begging.
16.
Yeah, you've heard a lot of stuff about the Shawanti in your time. Nothing about butterflies. In fact, many of the Shawanti live on the plains, where butterflies are there, but certainly not as common.
Gotcha.
So you pull Amelia aside.
So you remember me talking to you some about Satomi? Gosh, I don't know how much I've really told you about her.
Not all that much, actually.
So, after I left the city, I was injured and didn't get very far. And, I got as far as the Mindspin Mountains. Sorry, had to look at the map for the name. I got to the Mindspin Mountains, and I was in a cave, and I was delirious in and out with fever, and on the wall there was a, like a drawing, painting thing. And I mean, it was a butterfly, it's pretty ridiculous. But Satomi was telling me about Desna and followers of Desna worship butterflies. And I mean, I know it seems pretty crazy, but I feel like Satomi would want me to follow the butterfly. Please don't tell the others. I know it sounds ridiculous. And it doesn't make sense, but nothing has made sense, and I've tried to make things make sense, and that hasn't worked, so why not embrace the stuff that doesn't make sense? Because, I mean, it's about as much, makes as much sense as other stuff we've seen, right?
I suppose so. Sure, why not? Makes about as much sense as anything these days, I suppose. You're right.
Thank you. There's more that, I guess we should talk about one day,
talk
but
about it later.
thank you. Please don't tell Rhea.
Okay, I just...
I mean...
Trick, really?
What?
A Shawanti hunting trick, really? Following butterflies? She kind of, like, gives you an amused smile.
I mean... I had to say something. I couldn't just say, hey, look, a guy told me this. Yeah, let's do that. I mean...
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. Okay, so let's go. They're gonna wonder where we are.
Yeah.
As you get back, you see Claire finishing up his story, and there Rhea was, drenched in water and chalk powder. She was livid. She never again trusted me, not for years after that. As Claire finishes one of the more embarrassing stories of Rhea's childhood.
So, everybody rested? Ready to go? Just this way. I don't think it should be much further.
Please, let's keep walking.
I don't know. I really like that. I'd like to hear another as we go.
Why don't you tell us about some dwarf stories, mythologies, lore?
Please.
Claire looks a little disappointed.
I mean, I'm sure you wouldn't pass up the opportunity to educate a poor orphan dwarf.
Oh, absolutely. No, we can start with language. Let's go back over there.
So for the next half hour,
Learning your ABC.
Kieran carefully spells out the dwarven alphabet.
I do it in sing-song, too, to try and get her to learn a song. And I'm like, just going through it, making her sing along with me. I'm trying to get other people involved.
All 56 letters.
Rhea and Kieran, roll me survival checks, please.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Listen, I'm a paladin, not a ranger.
Holy shit.
I have been rolling very shittily though.
Oh my god.
All right.
We'll be okay.
As time goes on,
Wait, that was a wisdom check.
well, same thing if you don't have proficiency. Do you have proficiency in survival?
No.
All right.
Oh.
So same diff. As time goes on, Claire starts to get more quiet. And then eventually, Aras, you take one more turn and you see the butterfly like disappear into a cave. You guys are, by the way, you're in a very mountainous area. It's beautiful. The sun is shining. It's like 78 degrees outside. There's waterfalls you hear off in the distance running all around you. There's a river, a fairly large brook that runs about 300 feet off to your right. And the butterfly kind of floats up into a cave, and Claire says, not that way, Ross. That's not a safe place to go.
Why? What's down that way?
Those are called the waterfall caves. Rhea, you've heard of the waterfall caves. They are a large network of caves that often hold tribes of goblins.
Gotcha.
There's plenty of other places to go hunting.
But we really gotta go that way.
We really don't. Shawanti butterfly trick or not.
But she said people were gonna needed our help.
Who?
Would you believe it was a dream?
What exactly was a dream?
Amelia, it's like a little light bulb clicks on and she goes, oh gods.
Crap. So, she just kind of looks around like really embarrassed, and then she just kind of blurts out rambling that, last night I had a dream and she came and she told me I had to follow the butterfly, and I didn't believe it because it didn't make any sense. And I mean, come on, a butterfly of all totems, a freaking butterfly? But I mean, they follow the butterfly, the Desna as well. So I guess if anything else, why not a butterfly? And I mean, I thought my block walk, was supposed to go to the city, but I mean, I went to the city and then I'm here, and because that's where the city led me, and now I'm go. And I mean, she's just gonna keep rambling, and it doesn't really make much sense.
Like about halfway through it, Claire's just like looking at Rhea like, what the hell?
Amelia's just got her forehead in her hand.
She kind of stops Ross, like puts a hand on her shoulder. So, all of that's good and well, I guess. But who exactly told you to follow a butterfly?
Desna. You know Desna. You've heard of Desna. Rhea. Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say, I mean, you're, you know all of that stuff.
Can I can I roll to see if Rhea would know about like the gods sometimes giving people visions or something?
Roll a religion check for me.
I just want to roll above.
Can I roll
freaking-
Can I roll a bullshit check, GM? uh, not only do you know that is a common way for gods to talk to him, but you, as a paladin, spent plenty of time as a child studying the deities. And while of course Shellin is your main deity, you got general education around most of them, and you recall that in your early studies, Desna, the goddess of travel, does have a tendency to appear to her followers in dreams.
Okay, so she'll kind of just look at Ross and say, "So, Desna gave you a vision."
A dream? Vision? I mean, I know I was pretty drunk last night, but maybe I hit my head?
It's quite common for Desna to speak to her followers in dreams.
Sure, I mean, her followers, but you know.
Do you know someone who follows her?
Well, yes.
Well, maybe that's why.
Huh. But no, that can't be because I have to do this on my own.
You actually feel a hand on your shoulder from behind you as Claire puts a hand. Aras, what exactly did Desna tell you? Why are you headed to the cave?
She said she had some followers, travelers, and they needed our help.
And the vision led you here.
It said to follow the butterfly.
I see. And she'll turn to everyone else. I can tell you, if there are travelers in those caves, they are in a lot of danger.
I mean, I didn't really believe it at first. I mean, if I did, I would have said something, but I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't. I have to go this way. You guys can stay here. If
You're joking.
You really think we're going to let you go in there alone?
well, I mean, I don't want. I've taken you guys on too many crazy fool errand stuff, and I mean, it's, Amelia, in the city, we have a reason to be working together. Out here, I don't.
Why would being here change that?
You're right. I don't know. I'm.
Well, Claire says, I don't know about the rest of you.
Would really appreciate if you guys would come and help.
Claire,
So this is me asking for help.
Claire returned to Kieran. Well, I'm a paladin of Shellen. If there's even a chance there's people in danger, I'm honor-bound to help. What about you?
Oh,
It-
I'm right there with you. I'm just waiting for her to quit her yabbering and start walking.
Claire grins. Have any of you ever faced goblins before? Ever met one?
Met a goblin, yes. Faced a goblin? No?
Not quite, no, but something tells me that Toby and Fleck were a bit unique cases.
Toby and who?
A goblin friend.
A story for another time.
Claire's like eyebrows rise. Goblin friend.
A story for another time.
Fair enough. Just know, goblins alone, by themselves, are weak, not very much of a threat. But when they're in groups and when they can hide, they can be incredibly dangerous. Be careful. And prepare for... And she'll look at Kieran, which Kieran, you have experience with goblins, yes, as a dwarf?
Oh, yeah.
She'll look at Kieran and go, they do love their chaos.
Oh, man, I'm planning to at least step over 4 bear traps before we make it into the mouth.
And
To do what with bear? It's fine. Amelia.
Keep looking down and up.
Okay. Amelia,
Yes.
can I see your butterfly locket?
Oh, sure. And she'll take it off of her scarf and hand it over.
And I'll infuse it with mage armor.
God bless.
And I'll look at Shala and
I don't think Shala's here.
no,
oh wait,
Shala's
she did
asleep.
come. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll kind of look around and everybody else is wearing armor, right?
Claire's
I'm
as
the
naked
only
as the
one
day she was
here.
born.
I mean, she's gonna look around and make sure.
Yeah, what kind of armor is Kieran wearing?
She's got a chainmail shirt.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, Claire's wearing half plate. Maria's wearing scale, I believe.
Splint.
Splint, yeah. So everyone's wearing armor. Except for Amelia.
I'm also going to put away the longbow and pull out the sighted thunder cannon. And be like, right, well, if we're going in there, we should do this right.
Kieran, it should be pointed out, you've never seen anything like the implement she just pulled out. Guns, just in case it's not clear, in this campaign, in this world, guns are not a thing. This is something that Arlen has invented.
Oh, yeah, she's going to hit him with the tube. I got it.
With that, weapons drawn, you guys start to enter the waterfall caves. And I think we're going to stop the session here for tonight.
Woohoo!
But I am going to show you guys the entrance, if it loads.
Holy crap, that's a big board.
Oh, Jesus.
What? No, it's not. It's fine.
That's beautiful.
I also can't... I can't make it small enough. Oh, no.
Holy shit. Dude.
What?
This is a big ass map.
It's the waterfall caves.
As if that explains everything.
Damn. I can't even find the bottom of it to make it smaller.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what to do about that. It shouldn't be a huge... Actually, no, you know what? You know how you do it? Right-click, restore window, and turn it to a window. and then you should be able to hopefully get it. But we'll go ahead and end the session here for tonight, and next week you guys will follow the butterfly. Actually, the butterfly actually stopped at the cave entrance. Because even butterflies are eaten by goblins. I imagine the butterfly is like, all right, Deza, this is it. As far as I go. I led you, little dwarf. Now I'm gone. All right.
Done.
Everyone, thanks for watching, and join us next Tuesday. And again, thanks for joining us on this crazy adventure. Kieran, you will, of course, be with us to the end of this adventure at least. So we look forward to seeing you all next week.
Bye.
Ta-ta.